The Story Vault presents Gunslingers. Episode 9. Cold Reckoning. A Cassidy Quinn story. The wind howled through the frozen streets of Frosthaven, slicing through the quiet town like a blade. Cassidy's boots crunched against the snow as she stepped onto the icy wooden planks of the main street, her breath curling in the frigid air. Her sharp blue eyes scanned the snow-blanketed town, each shuttered window and wary glance from the townsfolk fueling the weight of the mission ahead. Her coat pulled tight against the cold. Cassidy strode into a small saloon. The door creaked open, and the warmth inside wrapped around her like a blanket. The bartender glanced up, his eyes flickering with recognition of trouble. "Looking for someone," Cassidy said, her voice low and steady. "Name's Emmett Langley." The bartender wiped his hands on a rag, his brow furrowing. "Ain't no outlaw out there, miss. Just an old couple trying to live in peace." Cassidy's jaw tightened. She'd heard that line before, but she wasn't here for stories. She was here for answers. Boots crunched on snow as Cassidy approached a small, cozy cabin at the edge of town. Smoke drifted lazily from the chimney, the warm glow of lamplight flickering behind frost-covered windows. She knocked, her hand resting casually near her sidearm. The door creaked open to reveal Emmett Langley, a rugged, weathered man in his late 60s, his steel blue eyes sharp but not unkind. Behind him, Clara Langley appeared, her warm hazel eyes soft but steady, her silver hair pulled back into a loose braid. Cassidy's eyes narrowed. "You Emmett Langley?" Emmett gave a slow nod, suspicion flickering in his gaze. Clara stepped forward, her voice gentle but firm. "You're here because of him, aren't you?" Inside, the warmth of the fire thawed Cassidy's icy resolve. Over mugs of steaming coffee, Emmett and Clara told their story, a tale not of wrongdoing, but of love. Clara had left the older gentleman willingly, seeking freedom from a loveless, suffocating marriage. Cassidy listened, the pieces falling into place. She'd been misled, dragged into a mission fueled by bitterness and heartbreak, not justice. Back in town, Cassidy sat in a dimly lit saloon, the weight of betrayal heavy on her shoulders. She pulled out a scrap of paper and scribbled a terse letter. "Found your wife. She's alive. She left you. Don't contact me again." She sealed it, dropped it off at the post office, and walked away, severing ties with the older gentleman for good. Cassidy returned to the Langleys' cabin, the warmth of their hospitality offering a brief respite from the cold world outside. They shared a hearty meal, the fire crackling softly in the background, casting dancing shadows on the walls. But peace was fleeting. A loud knock echoed through the cabin, sharp and demanding. Cassidy rose from her chair, her hand resting on her sidearm as she opened the door to reveal rough-looking men, debt collectors, their eyes cold and unforgiving. "They're expecting payment," one of them growled, stepping forward. Cassidy's eyes narrowed, her voice calm and steady. "I wouldn't stick around if I were you." The collectors exchanged wary glances, sensing the confidence in her tone. After a tense pause, they retreated into the snowy night, but Cassidy knew it wasn't over. Closing the door, she muttered, "Just my luck." The Langleys insisted Cassidy stay the night. They offered her a warm room, hot coffee, and later, a nightcap by the fire. The house creaked softly in the wind, the crackle of the fire the only sound as Cassidy sat back in the recliner, the warmth of the drink settling in. but sleep didn't come easy. Cassidy lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, her mind restless. The warmth of the cabin did little to quiet the thoughts racing through her head. With a sigh, she threw off the covers and slipped downstairs, clad in worn-out long johns. The fabric was thin, with a comical tear letting in the cold. Her boots thudded softly against the wooden steps as she muttered, "Cold draft sneaking in where it shouldn't." The buttons covering her chest were partially undone, adding a playful edge to the moment. She found the whiskey bottle on the table and poured herself another glass. Sinking into the recliner, the firelight danced across her figure, highlighting the mix of toughness and vulnerability in her posture. Cassidy stared into the flames, realizing she'd been pulled into another mess, not for revenge this time, but because it was the right thing to do. She chuckled softly, muttering, "Can't catch a break." The fire popped softly as Cassidy's quiet laughter faded, the wind howling outside, a reminder that in the world of gunslingers, peace was always just out of reach. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more adventures with Cassidy Quinn. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next trail.